Welcome back, everybody. Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. I just thought I would make a cool sort of general video about the holy trifecta of firearms. And I was thinking about three-gun shooting the other day, and I thought I would cut an episode talking about why is three-gun three-gun? Has anybody ever really thought about it? What is the holy trifecta? Could we define that trifecta? Should we refine it? Should we change it? And it's an interesting point of contention. When we look at three-gun competition, you're running around with your AR. Here I got my LMT, 16-inch barrel, suppressor, ACOG, very capable gun, bipod. This gun can get a lot of good work done. Here I've got a shotgun, okay, a semi-auto Beretta 1301. Yeah, buddy, it's a fantastic shotgun right here. And then, of course, when we look at the trifecta, we must include a pistol. All right, here I've got my 9L from Smith & Wesson, Performance Center 9L. 9mm, Terran Tactical base plates, ported barrel, Trijicon, SRO, what's not to like, okay? Very capable, high-speed types of setups that would be just as at home on your duty belt as they would be in the three-gun range. But I do enjoy that shooting discipline. I think it's very interesting how you can run around and dump your guns and pick up, usually you're not going to be carrying your shotgun. You'll have the shotgun staged, or there may be a course where, only one of the two long guns is used or something like that. Now, typically, you'll run your rifle at some point, your shotgun at some point, and you may need to dump either one into dump barrels to continue the lane. And that's fun. That makes it very interesting to maneuver with these firearms and then switch or whatever. Well, what if you carried them? Would that be practical? If we look at a trifecta, we always say that as a rifle, shotgun, pistol, is there some sort of field environment or tactical environment, if you will, where you could actually have a shotgun on your person as a backup to your rifle and then still have your handgun? Now that starts to get interesting. It's not very easy to run around with an extra long gun. I don't know if anybody's ever tried it. It's certainly not something I'd recommend trying. I know I've seen a lot of videos in Ukraine, for instance, where, they'll have some crazy engagement. And when the engagement's over, of course, there's a bunch of deceased soldiers laying around on the battlefield. And, of course, they all have guns. So, there's these guys going around and collecting battlefield pickups and, you're trying to grab 3 or 4 rifles by a sling and carry them around. It's not practical to carry multiple long guns on your person, especially not in a way where you're going to actually be able to swap them out easily and move them around easily. Now, there might be some of you high-speed people out there that, maybe you've got some crazy shotgun scabbard on your bag or I don't know, whatever. But generally speaking, it's not something you're going to do in the heat of the moment. So why is it that three-gun competition focuses so intrinsically on shotgun, rifle, pistol? Well, the answer simple is because it's fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an interesting discipline. Someone who can run a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol at a high degree of efficiency very quickly and accurately is a very well-rounded shooter. So it is an excellent test of one's shooting skills under stress, under time, everything like that. My question would be, if we really did approach this trifecta, this holy trifecta of firearms, in a way that, you would actually, let's say, carry these guns in real time and use them, how would one do it, and what would the choices be? I think that's all dependent on someone's individual preferences, as well as, let's just say, if we're talking a tactical environment, the tactics and the mission would dictate what type of firearms you would bring into that situation. I'm sure there's many of you out there who are, former Special Forces, Navy SEALs, Rangers, guys who, you've probably taken a few extra guns into a fight, but you may have them in a 3-day pack, or you may have, you might have a full auto sub gun in a 3-day pack as a backup or something. All right, maybe you're going to do entry and you want to pull out the sub gun instead. Well, you're going to strap your Mark 18 to your bag and you're going to pull out the sub gun if it dictates, and run that, maybe whatever, okay? That's an option, but that is a very specific and prepared for situation. Would a full-size 1301 semi-auto be a practical thing to strap to the side of a 3-day pack and you're on a raid or something? Maybe not, but a 590 pump action 14-inch SBS might be, or a pistol grip shotgun, something nice and short. I know many of you have seen pictures of soldiers that have taken M79 grenade launchers and cut them down into freakishly small, compact little setups to make them easy to carry around as a spare launcher. Yeah, you're not running that as your main gig, but you have it in your bag with a few, 10 or 15 grenades in case you need it. So again, real life is not combat in this way that I'm explaining it, but I'm trying to find the essence of why we would choose 3 guns in some sort of a real situation. Now, I'm a strong believer that if you're only going to have 3 guns, then by gosh, it better be a rifle, shotgun, and pistol. I think we all agree that that is a very good and agreed upon group of tools that can fit a wide variety of different uses. Okay, I've always considered a 22 to be an extremely important thing to have in there. Now, obviously, I wouldn't substitute one of these for a 22. Would I want to leave my pistol at home and only have a 22? No. Would I want to leave my shotgun at home and have a 22, or my rifle? No, of course not. But I think a 22 is an important thing to add into that environment. Maybe not from a tactical or mission-specific sense, but definitely from a practicality sense and a training sense. So there's always going to be exceptions to every rule. But I do find 3-gun to be a very fascinating thing. It's very fun. I have shot some 3-gun before. I find the gear choices to be very fascinating, and a lot of those gear choices do find their way into combat as well. I mean, you can definitely find where your equipment is going to fail on the 3-gun range. So I think that's another important thing about 3-gun is you're definitely going to find out what works and what doesn't. You go running around with something, you think all your cool gadgets are perfect, but you better believe if it's not attached properly, that thing's going to get jettisoned. Magazines are going to jettison from your body if they're not perfectly secure on your belt, etc., etc. So 3-gun does bring out the best and worst of someone's choice of equipment, which I do find to be very useful. Okay, and it does bring out the best in you. Competition brings out the best in a person, and combat has that way of doing things as well. I mean, the ultimate competition is life and death, the ultimate struggle of survival, and so again, as we repaint this trifecta into practicality, I mean, would I be okay with a pistol grip shotgun, like maybe a shotgun this size with a short little bird's head grip or a collapsible stock or something that I could strap to the side of a 3-day pack? I'd be down to pack this, knowing that I've got a good entry tool if I need it. You put breachers in this and breach a lock or shoot a lock off, or use it for close-in engagement if I need to protect myself with a shotgun. Shotguns deliver a lot of power and payload, so they are very useful. And of course, with the battlefields we see now in the world, shotguns are becoming a very indispensable tool for even your everyday soldier, because now you've got drones to contend with. Now, would this be my optimal choice of drone gun? Probably not, because it's a pump. It's a little slower to reload. If you miss, you've got a lot less opportunity and chance and time to shoot at that drone. Now, okay, a 24-inch vent rib semi-auto hunting shotgun that's got like an extended magazine on it. Now you're talking, yes, some fast follow-up shots, more velocity, longer range. That's going to be useful for something like that. Now, I already did videos in the past where I talk about guns that I think would excel in that role for drones and things, but as technology changes, as do the tactics required to combat the newer types of technologies. And it's so random to think about how frightening the modern battlefield really is. And, if I could redefine this trifecta, I really wouldn't change anything. I mean, I think that pistol, shotgun, and rifle are definitely the go-to sort of thing. If you're running a Mark 18, 10.3 Mark 18, and you have perhaps your whatever pistol you choose to use, whether it's a fancy 3-gun pistol or whether it's just a stock 19X or whatever you're going to run what you brung, by all means. And a small, compact, even if it were a Shockwave or Aftershock, Mossberg has their Aftershock now. The 990 is a semi-auto with a little 14-inch barrel. yeah, something like that with the bird's head, strap it to your pack or put it in your pack or something, and you have that shotgun available. You can get to it quick. Generally in the field, and when I say the field, I mean war. Now, life isn't war. Well, I suppose philosophically, life is war. Life is a struggle. Life is a battle. Every day is a battle. But for the purposes of this, let's just say scenario or argument, let's say that, if you're in a war, you're working together as a unit, right? And you've got, your guys have got your back. You're stacking up. You're about to, blast your way into an abodement or something, or a compound or whatever. That's the MO, right? Is to seek and destroy, and the shotgun is needed. Well, I think that comes down to your team knowing, okay, well, this guy with a 3-day pack has the grenade launcher, or he's got the extra grenades, or he's got the extra ammo, or he's got, everyone will kind of pack accordingly, and you all kind of know, like, okay, this, if we need a breaching shotgun, the guy's not going to pull his backpack off and grab the shotgun out. No, someone's going to reach over and pull it out of his pack and then pass it on to whoever needs it, that sort of thing. So you have to treat firearms as tools because they are tools. So yes, the trifecta stands that pistol, shotgun, and rifle are useful tools in that trifecta. And I think they all complement each other in very unique and special ways, especially in the modern battlefield. But also on the modern competition range. But you also have to, I think, remain, pragmatic and be practical about actually utilizing and running these types of guns all together. I mean, you're not going to, it's very difficult to carry 2 long guns and actually have some tactical application for having that gun and being able to swap it out quickly in an instant. It's not a video game where you hit a button and then the gun you want just appears. Not, quite that simple. Now, if you're staging guns, now that's a different story. What we would call a New York reload, okay? A New York reload is where you have another gun that's already loaded and ready to go, and you don't even, try to reload a gun. And typically, a New York reload is more like a revolver, right? If you have one wheel gun, you have a backup wheel gun, you don't have to struggle trying to reload a revolver. That has to do with the gun laws in New York, and that's why they call it a New York reload. The point is, staging guns has a very important role as well. Now, in 3-gun, you do stage guns. There are going to be situations where your shotgun will be staged, and the stage will call for either it being loaded, unloaded, whatever. The stage will have its particulars on how each firearm is staged and jettisoned and all the rules and things therein. I'm talking more about staging from a practicality, tactical sort of standpoint. I do believe in staging guns in the vehicle quite well. And I think shotguns are perfect for the vehicle because if someone's close in, you're on the road, there's a dangerous situation. Believe me, nobody wants to walk into a 12-gauge barrel. I don't care who they are. And when you look at law enforcement encounters of very negative consequences where, let's say, assailants are shot in a law enforcement encounter, anytime a shotgun is used, most of the time the assailant does not require a trip to the hospital, a trip to the morgue. I mean, that's it. So shotguns offer payload and power and incapacitation, which make them uniquely qualified for that type of role over a pistol. And one would say a rifle can fill that role well, too. I mean, trust me, at shotgun ranges, if you take a round of 5.56 to the chest and you're not wearing any armor out of a 16-inch barrel from just across the road, well, yeah, you're screwed, okay? So not saying that both guns can't have the same amount of lethality, but shotguns are uniquely qualified for certain things. Maybe you have to shoot through a little bit of brush or underbrush or undergrowth, or maybe there's some automotive glass or a door, a car door or something. Now, I'm giving very unique examples. These are not examples that are going to apply in everyday life to the average civilian person, but it's important to know. And that's also about knowing the capability of your firearm and what it can handle and what it can't. If I know I'm going up against automotive glass, I don't want a rifle or a pistol. I want a shotgun. I want a shotgun with heavy bear slugs, and I'm going to sling slugs, and that's going to be the story of them. And there's no amount of glass is going to stop that. Maybe not even bank glass, depending on the thickness and all. So again, shotgun slugs are bad news bears. Are there situations where I would modify the trifecta for my personal needs to say, all right, rifle, shotgun, and instead of a pistol, maybe just go ahead and run a machine gun? Yeah. I'd rather have this in some situations. Depending on what I know I'm going into, I'd rather have this than a handgun. A handgun, at the point of knowing you're going into some type of a weird, bad situation, the handgun is more of a backup at that point. So for me, yeah, I'll take the B&T. I'll take the full auto, for me. But again, that's just my preference. Like, what if there were a 3-gun class where you could run a PCC in addition to your shotgun and your rifle? So that kind of foul things up a little bit, because yes, let's just go back to competition and say that while on some rifle shots that you're going to need to make on the 3-gun range, yes, the ranges are going to exceed what a 9mm PCC is likely capable of. And of course, whoever designs the course is going to make sure of that you could not make those shots easily with a PCC. But let's just say, in a more practicality standpoint, in a more, let's just say, lifelike environment that you would likely experience in the real world that could replicate, let's just say, the tension and unpredictability and the adrenaline of a 3-gun match. Well, yeah, assailants are going to be close, and a potential defensive situation with a firearm is going to be close range. Yes, pistols are great for close range. You can shoot them with one hand easily. Recoil's light. You can carry it on your person. I'm not saying don't have a pistol on your person. But if I know I'm going into a situation, or if I know that danger might be nearby, I'd much rather be in my car and have this in the seat next to me with a giggle switch on it. That's just me. But again, it really just comes down to what people want. I think that I would modify the trifecta to include just a full auto PCC, or if it ain't got to be a full auto, but just a PCC with a brace or something instead of a handgun. And maybe instead of a full-size handgun, you have like a micro 9 on your hip as like a concealed carry, a concealed gun. Whereby this is more of kind of the gun you would have in a duty holster or in a 3-gun belt. Hey, it's all exposed. You're wearing a big old 3-gun belt or a battle belt. That's useful. And I keep a battle belt at the house. Like if I were to hear, let's say someone try to kick in the door or whatever, or I see somebody on my camera and I have enough time, for instance, to react, then yeah, I'll slip on my battle belt. And yes, that battle belt has some extra AR mags on it. It's got my pistol with 2 extra mags and 1 in the gun. It's got my tourniquets and blowout kit and a few tools and things like that. And at that point, clip the belt on, grab my rifle. Now I'm pretty capable. I've got a 2-gun setup. Yes, I don't have a shotgun, but I have a rifle and pistol and some extra ammo on my person. So it all comes down to practicality. If I've got a micro 9 that I'm wearing appendix and it's hidden and it just stays on me, then that's my concealed carry. I'm not going to use that as an offensive tool in the heat of the moment unless I'm away from all these tools. So I would almost approach it as a micro 9 on your person. Go ahead and have the sub gun as your, if you're going to run pistol rounds, if you're going to run something that's small and compact. I mean, this is much more practical to shoot out of a vehicle or a tight space than a shotgun or a rifle, and a lot less collateral damage. But also because of its small size and everything like that, it can still fill that role of being a lightweight type of 9mm you can use for that sort of situation. So, that's my opinion. You take it for what you will, but I got to think about 3-gun. I got to thinking about why we approach this trifecta in such a way. And if we could modify that trifecta slightly and maybe apply it to some real world situations, how would we do it? So that's what I wanted to make this video about. And I hope that you enjoyed some of my, mental trickery here and what I'm trying to throw together. But let me know what you think. What's your ideal trifecta? It may be different for every person. Maybe people don't care about competition. Maybe they don't care about some of the situations that I mentioned. Maybe someone's perfect trifecta is a 22 and a smoothbore single shot shotgun and your grandpa's old revolver. If that's fine, that's your trifecta. Or maybe somebody just has 1 or 2 guns and doesn't even care about having a bunch of guns. I want to know what you think. What's your ideal trifecta? Do you agree with some of my talking points? Do you disagree? I want to know. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section down below. We'll get a conversation going. I'll try to respond to some of you guys about this. So thanks so much. Many more videos on the way. We'll see you soon.